1998, 13 to 14 years old. I set a New Year's goal this year to try to control my temper. During the first few weeks I did pretty well, but soon I struggled again and I gave up on the goal. I often got bored whenever I was at the house not doing artwork or on the computer. I hated being bored. For most of my life, I thought Massachusetts, the hometown I was living in, was a very boring place to live. However, at this point in my life, I started beginning to appreciate Mattapoisett more, even though I got bored a lot. I enjoyed living by the ocean more, and I would often take walks by the ocean whenever I felt stressed or upset, and it would calm me down immediately. I really enjoyed looking out at the horizon, enjoying the beauty, and I got curious guessing what kind of places was out in the horizon. I often had a lot of meltdowns. I often got very upset. And then when I lost my temper, it would make me feel worse. But when I walked down at the ocean, I always felt better. After Christmas, I found out that I was going to move to Michigan. My dad got a job over at a company called General Motors. My dad was jobless for a while after he lost his job at Chamberlain and found a job up in Michigan. I was suddenly, shockingly felt very sad. I suddenly realized, even though I got bored around Mattapoisett and I hated being bored, I knew I was going to miss the ocean. And I was also scared I wasn't going to like the new area. It was so much unknown. I found out in 5 months prior that I was going to move. And I did a lot of things. I knew in 5 months, once I got out of school in 7th grade, I was going to move to Michigan in the area. I knew I needed to really appreciate my area in these last few days living here. So I did a lot of things to really appreciate it. I tried to act more outgoing so people could remember me. As a result of acting more outgoing, I happened to make more friends and people liked me more. This caused me to like myself more. I actually almost kind of became popular in a way when I was in 7th grade because everybody liked who I was because they liked how I was unique. I really enjoyed the feeling of being liked. I really began to discover this for the first time in my life. I started really appreciating that feeling of being part of a whole. Like those dreams I had, and like those times where I pretended to ride my bike, pretend I was driving with a bunch of motorcycles. Or that dream I had when I was driving a car along with all those other cars. It was like that. I liked feeling unique and a part of everybody. It was an awesome feeling. I also did other things. I also, continued to pursue my interests that I had, like model rocketry. I continued to build model rockets. I started inviting some new friends that I used to hang out with, and I made a model rocket show and I lit off rockets and everybody gathered around and watched. My few friends started also getting interested in catching frogs. They saw what I liked doing and they got interested in it too. And I started catching frogs together with everybody, with some of my other friends. I was really happy during this time and I started liking myself even more. I continued to hang out with my friend Kim all the time. We did tons of stuff together. Right before I moved, my friend Kim threw a big party for me. And all my friends got together. And it was really fun. It really made me feel good. Once everybody left the party, it was me, her, and Kelly. And we said goodbye. Kim started to cry. She gave me a hug. This was the first time I really felt like really close to somebody as a really close friend. And it was a really awesome feeling and I felt like crying too. I was sad to leave. I rode my bike and I watched Kim kind of fade away. I was driving away. But I felt like moving to this new place was going to be a good thing. It was going to be an opportunity. It was an unknown. I knew my dad was going to make more money. And I also knew I was going to live an hour away from my mom. I moved to Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan this summer, up in Michigan. It was near Detroit. Once I moved to Michigan, my life seemed to change in so many ways immediately. In fact, I almost wasn't expecting how much I almost didn't expect how much change I was going to experience. It all started when I had trouble following directions when my mom and stepmom asked me to do favors when I helped them move. I had trouble interpreting their requests. They wanted me to help them move, and I had a hard time understanding their instructions when I helped them move. And they got very mad at me and impatient, and I felt horrible. When they told me to give me a certain box, I often gave them the wrong box because I misunderstood directions. I suddenly became aware that I had trouble following directions. I didn't know that before. I started to wonder why. I started wondering, am I dumb? Is it because I didn't take school seriously when I was younger? Am I starting to pay a toll for not taking school seriously? Am I starting to see a consequence from thinking that schoolwork was pointless? This seemed like an overwhelming problem. Every time my parents asked me to do something, I seemed clueless on what to do. I often gave them the wrong thing. I gave them a red bag when they asked me to give them a blue bag. I often gave them when I gave them the wrong thing, they often got really upset at me. One time my stepmom asked me to wash the stairs when we moved into our new place, and I washed it using water, and my stepmom screamed at me and literally totally lost all patience with me and told me, "You're going to go to camp for the rest of the summer." Because I misunderstood following directions. And that really scared me. I didn't want to go to camp. That kind of scared me. So I started to question my intellect. I knew I was good at art. I knew knew a lot about electricity and other things that interest me. But did this really mean I was smart though? My parents asked me to do things that seemed fairly simple, but I wasn't getting it. Did this mean I was dumb? I started thinking about school and how I probably should have taken school more seriously, and decided that it was probably a factor. My self-esteem started decreasing. I didn't want to be a dumb person at all. I didn't want to be dumb. And I knew school was going to start pretty soon. I was going to start a new school in 8th grade in this new town called Grosse Pointe I was living in. Immediately, I started taking life seriously. I started taking life more seriously in terms of improving the areas I was weak in. I knew I was behind in reading and other academics in school because I didn't take school seriously before. And I knew it was going to be a struggle when I started 8th grade if I didn't try to take corrective measures now. So, I suddenly became extremely determined to improve the areas where I felt dumb at. I started to realize the importance of education. I made the decision to take school more seriously. I knew I was going to go to a new school, and this was the opportunity to have a fresh reputation. I no longer had to be around people who knew that I had an aid, who saw me misbehave and get mad at class all the time and have meltdowns. I made a vow to not get mad in class ever again. I decided that it would be beneficial to try harder to make new friends, because I realized social skills was also important. I also forced myself to wear clothes that didn't bother me during that summer due to my sensitivity, so I could look like a cooler person to fit in. I completely overcame my struggle of wearing all clothes with buttons and pockets before I started 8th grade, because I knew if I didn't wear cool clothes, I wouldn't have a good first impression when I started this new school. Once the summer was over and school was about to start, I felt very prepared and content. I almost felt like I was a different person. I was like all serious and shit. I felt like the school year was going to be good. I was definitely ready. Well, 8th grade was terrible. I hated 8th grade. I did not like this new school. Most of the people at this new school didn't like me, and I immediately had a bad reputation. I got made fun of immediately, and I got made fun of a lot. I found people at this school to be a lot different than the people that I knew in Massachusetts. They seemed to be more intellectual and more judgmental. They seemed like everybody, it seemed like all these people in school were like the few popular people that I knew in 7th grade. It was hard to fit into school. It was like people were more socially advanced, smarter, and I was behind socially nonetheless, because I never took the effort to make friends in the first place in the past. Getting made fun of really decreased my self-esteem and social confidence significantly. I started to think that I was actually a reject. I remember there was this one kid at school when I was in Massachusetts that got made fun of a lot. And I felt bad for him. And I was beginning to think I was having that same reputation like he did. And I didn't want that. I wanted to feel like I had that belonging and love for everybody, that peace where I felt as a whole like I did in 7th grade, and I felt like I didn't have that now. I felt like there was something special about the feeling, but obviously didn't feel this way at this school. I started to not like myself again. I thought I couldn't make friends. I thought I was ugly and started getting really shy around people. I felt this situation was horrible and wanted to do what I could to get out of it.